Hello and welcome to my podcast. In this episode, I'm talking about the book The Psychology of Money. In this episode, I'll give you a brief skimmed summary of Psychology of Money chapter by chapter. See, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel is a book that explores the complex relationship between people and money, focusing on the psychological factors that shape financial decisions. Unlike traditional personal finance books that emphasizes numbers and formulas, Housel delves into the most emotional behavior and cognitive aspects that influence how we save, spend, and invest. So I'll give you, if not be detailed, but a very brief summary, by chapter, breaking down the book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Chapter 1: No One's Crazy. Housel argues that people's view on money are shaped by their unique experiences. For example, someone who lived through the Great Depression will have a vastly different attitude towards risk than someone who grew up in a booming economy. He emphasizes that it's important to recognize that everyone's decision with money makes sense to them, given their individual context. Therefore, financial behavior that seems irrational to one person may be perfectly reasonable to other. Chapter 2: Luck and Risk. This chapter discusses the fine line between success and failure and how much of it is influenced by luck and risk. Housel uses Bill Gates' story of attending a high school with a computer, saying that how lucky he was. It can play a huge role in success. Conversely, many equally talented people could face difficult outcomes simply due to circumstances. The key takeaway is that success in finance isn't purely about skill, it's often about being lucky enough to avoid risk and making decisions that allow you to play out. Chapter 3: Never Enough. Housel tells stories of people like Bernie Madoff who had significant wealth but lost everything due to their inability to recognize when they had enough. The lesson is that the pursuit of more money can become dangerous if it leads to excessive risk or unethical behavior. The idea of enough is crucial in understanding contentment and avoiding the pitfalls of endless ambition. Housel encourages readers to define what enough means to them and to avoid the trap of constantly chasing money. Chapter 4: Confounding Compounding. In this chapter, Housel emphasizes the importance of compounding, which is often misunderstood or underestimated. We use Warren Buffett as a key example, while Buffett's investment skills are legendary. His real secret to wealth is the sheer amount of time he spent in the market. Starting young and staying invested allowed compounding to work its magic. The lesson is that compounding takes time and patience, and the small, consistent efforts can yield massive results over the long term. Chapter 5: Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy. Housel distinguishes between two different financial skills: getting wealthy and staying wealthy. While building wealth requires taking risk and being optimistic about the future, staying wealthy requires humility and understanding the importance of not losing everything. To maintain wealth, one needs to prioritize survival, which involves recognizing risk and preparing for the unknown. Chapter 6: Tails You Win. This chapter highlights the idea of tail events, outliers or extreme events that have a disproportionate impact on financial outcomes. Most people's financial lives are shaped by a few crucial moments, either successes or failures. The stock market, for instance, is driven by a handful of highly performing companies. Understanding these principles helps in realizing that many of our big financial decisions will hinge on way a few key moments. Chapter 7: Freedom. Housel argues that the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up and control your day, or in other words, freedom. Money can buy freedom and flexibility, which in turn buys happiness. He suggests that financial decisions should not only focus on accumulating wealth, but on gaining more autonomy and control over your time. Chapter 8: Man in the Car Paradox. In this chapter, Housel discusses the paradox that people often buy luxury goods like expensive cars to impress others, but those same people rarely notice or admire the driver. Instead, they are focused on how they would look driving that car. The lesson is that trying to signal wealth often doesn't achieve the desired effect because people are more interested in their own lives than in yours. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Housel points out that true wealth is often invisible. Many people show off their money by spending it on material goods, but wealth is what's saved and invested, not what's spent. True financial security comes from having money you don't display, because that's the money that you grows over time. Chapter 10. Save money. This chapter focuses on the importance of saving. Hazel explains that saving gives you options and flexibility, which is one of the most powerful things money can buy. He argues that the ability to save is more about your behavior and mindset than your income. Saving is crucial because it allows you to seize opportunities or weather unexpected storms, even if it doesn't directly increases your return. Chapter 11. Reasonable is greater than rational. Housel suggested that financial decisions don't always need to be perfectly rational. They just need to be reasonable for you. Something emotional, seemingly rational decisions such as paying off a mortgage early even when mathematically it doesn't make any sense are perfectly reasonable if they give you a peace of mind. The key is to find a balance between financial optimization and emotional comfort. Chapter 12. Surprise. The future is unpredictable, and financial planning should be acknowledged the inevitability of surprises. The author explains that the world is constantly changing, and many financial models or plans fail because they assume the future will be like the past. Therefore, the best financial plan are those that are adaptable and allow for flexibility in the face of surprises. Chapter 13. Room for Error. In this chapter, Hassel discusses the importance of having a margin of safety in your financial plans. Planning for things to go wrong, and they often do, is the key to long term survival. He suggests that being conservative in estimates and always leaving room for errors so that unexpected challenges don't derail your entire financial strategy. Chapter 14. You'll change. Housel reflects on how our desires, goals, and values evolve over time. What seems like a good financial goal today may not hold the same value year after or years after. Therefore, financial planning should be flexible, and it's important to recognize that we will change as we age. This chapter encourages adaptability and regular reassessment of financial goals. Chapter 15. Nothing's free. Housel explains that everything has a cost, even if it's not immediately apparent. For example, the price of successful investing is enduring volatility and uncertainty. Many people fail because they are unwilling to pay the price of discomfort. Hauser suggests that understanding and accepting the price of success is crucial to achieving long term financial goals. Chapter 16. You and Me. This chapter focuses on the idea that different people have different goals, risk tolerances, and financial circumstances. Therefore, it's a mistake to follow others' financial strategies blindly. Personal finances is just that, personal. You need to tailor your strategy to your unique situation rather than copying that works for others. Chapter 17. The Seduction of Pessimism. Hausel discusses why pessimism often sounds smarter than optimism, especially when it comes to money. Negative news and warnings often attract more attention because they seem more insightful, but a constant focus on pessimism can lead to poor financial decisions. Long term success often requires optimism and faith in the future, despite the short term setbacks. Chapter 18. When You Will Believe Anything. Hausel explores how people come to believe fast or misleading financial information. In times of uncertainty, fear, or excitement, people are more prone to believe stories that may not be true. He cautions against making financial decisions based on hype, fear, or incomplete information and stresses the importance of skepticism and critical thinking. Chapter 19. Altogether now. Well, this chapter tries back to key lessons of the book, focusing on the idea that financial success is about behavior, not intelligence. Housel iterates that managing money well requires emotional control, long term thinking, and the ability to adapt to unexpected events. Chapter 20. Confessions. Well, this is the final chapter of the book. Housel shares his own financial beliefs and practices, admitting that even as a finance writer, he sometimes makes decisions that are not perfectly rational. He emphasizes that personal finance is just the personal and that there is no one size fits all solution. Ultimately, success with money is about doing what works for you based on your values and goals. Housel's central message throughout the book is that personal finance is more about the psychology, how we think about and relate to money, than about specific strategies or formulas. Thank you for listening. I'll see you around.